what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what gives you energy. We do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Details will be in the description. I also just created a Patreon, so if you guys want to support and show me your pledges, I think I have it on for like $151.49 per month. So that's another way that you guys could show your support too as well. But anyways, if you guys have any questions or concerns, or you want to ask me any specific questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. That way I could answer it there, or maybe you could send me a direct message via Instagram. That's it though. Today's episode is what gives you energy. And so what I always do is I would show a recap, but unfortunately I can't show it here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be talking about one recap, and which is one of my previous episodes, and then I will have 4 slides. Okay, so let's start with the recap. Um, let's see. So the recap is stop wasting time on those who are not interested in you. And that's the episode. And the slide is on we get distracted. Okay? We get distracted. So let's start out with the recap. Okay? We get distracted. So here's the thing. I want you guys to understand this. What's up? What's up, Bree? Reminders on. First one here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so we get distracted, right? So the reason why I want to use this as a recap is because I want you guys to understand the type of energy that you're putting out and what you're getting in return for yourself, because you want to make sure that you always have enough for yourself. Otherwise, you won't be able to give it to another person. Thank you for the like, Sarah. And okay, I see you all. I see you all. Didn't want to steal your rank. All right, so we get distracted, okay? So when we get distracted, when we really like someone, we get distracted on how much we like them, right? And so what usually happens then is usually we tend to ignore the fact that they're not reciprocating as much, or they're just not as, they don't respond as much as they used to, or just little things, they fade away. But then you're projecting what your interest is, but they're not really reciprocating on their end. And you're basically somehow ignoring the reality that they're not as into you as you are into them. And so you're projecting something different, and so you make up this false image that they really care about you when they kind of don't. You know what I mean? And if that happens, then you want to spot that right away, because then you know exactly, like, oh, is this a red flag for me, or is this a place for me? Like, maybe this is not right for me right now, right? Or maybe this person just kind of wants me around. And here's a few things to kind of spot. So some people might show you interest just so that they could string you along, right? They could string you along, and that usually, it's another word of saying leading you on, right? Do you really want to be around someone that kind of leads you on? Is that something that you want, right? Just, or because they just want a passing of time, just to kind of like, hey, you know what? I don't mind having you around as a little comfort, just in case if that person, my main person, doesn't give me attention, then I have you. It's like, well, then it's usually when people don't have a lot of value within themselves. That's why they need multiple people to fill in the void, right? And that's why I always ask, how do you guys feel when you guys are alone? Do you guys feel comfortable? Do you guys understand where you're at mentally? And later on I will have an exercise for you guys, and I want you guys to really look into this exercise, because it's going to help you a lot when it comes to goal settings and just understanding where you are at now and where you want to be in the future. Okay, so moving on to the recap. We get distracted. So some people just kind of string you along. This is usually life's one of those life's influences where most people they kind of just use it as a distraction so that they don't really have to focus on themselves. Because usually what happens is when they have to really focus on themselves, that requires work, that requires reflection, that requires energy. And it's like, you know what? I'd rather have this short term gain, which is whatever is that's pleasurable right now, whatever is that's instant right now. And that's usually, and it ends up on a wrong path. It usually ends you up on the wrong path, and you're like, okay, I just wasted X amount of years just because I'm always focusing on simple pleasures. Okay, so be careful not to be distracted. So, like I said, I encourage you guys to actually turn off some of the notifications. Maybe some of the apps that you're really not using, just kind of let that go because you don't want to get too distracted. And in this world right now, everything is a distraction on your phone. And even if you're not on your phone, there's other things to distract you. So it's no wonder that everyone's kind of just always their focus is very very limited. Like I feel like, remember Vine? Those movies, those short videos. It was 6 seconds. It was 6 seconds. So I'm assuming, based off the scientific data that they were using, 6 seconds was the attention span. Now I think it's 3. I wouldn't be surprised if our attention span is not much more than a goldfish. You know what I mean? So really, really, really pinning down like your focus, your goals, what are you going after? I think that that's going to be huge for your future. Okay, so turn off the notifications, right? Whatever it is, social media, mobile games, whatever it is. Okay, I am good as well. Nice. Good to see everyone here. Good to see everyone here. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Now, we get distracted. So, be a loyal person and be loyal to your words. So, mean what you say what you mean, right? Say what you mean what you say. Because that's a person people can trust and respect, a person with integrity. And I think that's kind of lost nowadays. I'm pretty sure. Hi, Connie. How are you? Welcome, welcome in. I feel like more and more nowadays, especially with social media, how TikTok got really big. And I've seen a lot of actual what they call relationship coaching, or not even relationship coaching. They just talk about relationships, but it gets very, I don't like to use this word, but it gets very toxic. It gets very toxic. Oh, do this when she does this to you, or do this when he does this to you, so you could get a reaction from this person to get them upset. Cute emojis, by the way. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys ever stumble across it. That's usually what I see because I'm very focused in to my relationship and self reliance. So that's usually what I see, right? So I don't know. It gets very toxic in there, and I can't blame it. It's usually a bunch of kids, usually, right? And I'm talking about like teens to maybe even late teens. So they're doing this to get a reaction, right? So that they could fill in a void for themselves, but it doesn't make them a better person. But then again, I can't blame them. They don't really have anything to relate with, and more than likely their family, the mom or dad or whoever they're staying with, they're not around a happy, healthy relationship anyways. Just cleaning my room, day off. Nice. Okay. And I see you, Bree. You've been doing your thing. I've been seeing that. Okay. If JR was here, he would say something. Just want to share my experience. Sometimes it's not filling the void. Rather, I miss the fun and companionship of the person I knew. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if so, how I see relationship is like this too, right? It's not that you're going to assume that that person will never betray you, because eventually, so remember when I was saying not everyone stays into your life forever, whether it's a stranger, your lover, or even family. Like not to sound morbid, but no one gets out alive. You know what I mean? Like eventually our time will come, but it's how you want to live it. So do you want to live your life the way you want? And do you want to be at the end where you say, I regret this or I regret that? I don't want that personally, which is why I'm so focused on to becoming the best version of myself so that I could be happy with the people that I want to surround myself with. You know what I mean? So that's why I have I have an aim, I have a focus. Now, do I have everything planned out? No, absolutely not. But do I have things planned out? Yes. And I will get into that as I finish this recap, which is getting very long. Anyways, so be a loyal person, be a person with integrity. Don't try to force an interaction, especially if that person doesn't want to be around you. Don't waste your time being around a person because you're valuable. If you know your own value, you won't be you won't just keep chasing that person that doesn't even want to give you the time of day. So betrayal could be like someone that cheats on you, right? Or someone that you thought had your back and they don't. It could be a lot of ways, or maybe they could even like stab you in the back verbally. I hope never physically, okay? But verbally, meaning this, like maybe you thought that they were good friends, or you guys were good friends, and then next thing you know, you just hear them talking behind your back. So what I always keep an eye out for is this: I try not to be around people that always talks bad about another person. Usually is because the moment we stop talking and their face is facing another direction and I'm not there, they're probably going to be talking about me too. And do I want that type of encouragement around me? No. So that's usually where I draw the line, where I stay away from them, because it's not worth it. I feel like my energy, which is today's topic, what gives you energy, I'm more worried about what I'm giving away too as well, right? So I'm focusing on what gives me energy, but I'm also focusing on what takes it away. Okay. But anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to the meat of the topic. Uh, we were talking about seafood earlier, so the meat, the crab meat. This betrayal, defining a person because you just his betrayal is not defending a person because you just keep quiet. I okay. What do you mean by that, Chevin? Like, are you someone's telling you like, hey, tell me this, and they want an information off of you because they couldn't get it out of another person? So are you the person in the middle, right? And these two are fighting or having a disagreement, and they want the information from you. You and if that's what you're saying, then I don't think that's betrayal. I think that's something between you guys have to figure out. Leave me out of it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I care about both of you guys. This is not my place, and you got to respect my decision on not wanting to talk. I don't have to say anything. If that's what you're referring to, Chevelin. But based off your question, that's how I saw it. Disloyalty. Yeah, it could be disloyalty. Yeah, you could betrayal is a harmful. No, yeah, and that's usually one of the most. It's because it's like you put in all this trust into a person, and then you feel like, hey, this person isn't the person where I thought this person would be. So betrayal could also feel like, you know, maybe at first I thought you were the person that I was with or whatever, and then let's just say that that integrity, right, is a huge part of it, and you trust them that they will never go out, never they wouldn't cheat on you, and then one day you find out that they're speaking to somebody else at a more uh not so platonic level, at a more romantic level, and that kind of causes you to feel like you've been betrayed. And usually that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And do you really want to sleep with one eye open? Do you want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. I would rather be around someone that values me and I value them, because I know where I'm at and I selected to be with you because I find value in you. Now, if you betray that value that I invested in, then I'm just going to step away. Yes, it's going to hurt. I'm not going to like it. And I'm not saying that I'm like invincible, but what I am saying, it's like I deserve better. I would deserve better. Okay? I have so much respect for a guy who's decent and had integrity to say up front that he's the wrong guy for me. Made me love him more for that decency, but moving on. Um, Yeah, I mean, Annie, if you want to discuss a little bit later on, let me know. Let me know, okay? Instagram, I'm still there, all right? But anyways, I always talk about, so one my first slide is beware of your surroundings. So, I'm not just talking about your physical surrounding. I'm talking about what you're surrounded with mentally too as well, right? But I always talk about surroundings, so I'm gonna say it again. And the reason why I keep always bringing this up is because this is usually one of the most difficult part to let go. It's the people that you had closest with you, the people that you thought you could trust, or you were comfortable and you were getting complacent, and you're like, you know what, it's gonna take so much more work to have newer friends, or like, if I don't have friends right now, it's gonna feel like it's gonna suck. So it's better to stay with these people now, and then, until maybe I find new friends. It's like, so it's no different than, someone bridging along another relationship because they know that the relationship is not working. So they're trying to line up people so that, hey, you know what, this is going well now, I'm gonna break up with my current boyfriend or my current girlfriend after I have this lined up. And that's usually because they don't believe that they're valuable themselves. And it's like, I need this because I need someone else's validation. That's not always the case, but that's usually what happens. And that's why when you see people after they break up, a month later, they get into a relationship, it's like, no, you don't get into a relationship that quick, right? That quick. Anyways, be aware of your surroundings. What is it that you want to wake up with? What do you want to do when you wake up? Like, what's your surrounding when you wake up? What consumes your mind, right? And do you allow yourself time to stay focused on the things that you want to do, or do you let life distract you? Whether it's the phone, right? Just pick up your phone, right? I talked about when you wake up and you pick up your phone, what are you actually consuming? Because that's the first thing that you're going to be looking at. And that usually sets the tone throughout the day. So I know older people, they like to watch the news. And I always talk about the news. It's like, oh my God, all this is like, yeah, this, it's not that I don't care. There's not much that I can physically do about it. And the fact that you're consuming all this, what can we do? Okay. Yes, I agree with everything you're saying, Mitchell. Thank you. Thank you, Connie. What resonated with you? Let me know. I'm curious. Sarah, you said love walking in the ocean, coffee, happy family, job, what I live to do, what I love to do. Okay, yeah. I mean, and that's perfect because now you know what you like, what kind of frees your mind a little bit, right? So, moving on, things you do and people you hang out with, are they the type of people that lifts you up, or are they the one that brings you down? And what I mean by that is there's a difference. There's a difference between constructive criticism versus criticizing for their own benefits. And what I mean by that is, hey, if I see something and I want you to grow because you're a good friend of mine or you're a good whatever of mine, right? I want you to grow. And I'd be like, hey, I noticed something and I want to let you know. So this is I wouldn't want you to take it the wrong way. And if it is, I apologize in advance, okay? But I do see something and if I want to voice it out. And then if they're prepared for it, then you can let them know. But if they're not and they don't want to hear it, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. But I also know people that just likes to criticize for their own benefits, and it's kind of like, kicking you down so it brings them up, right? There's no difference in that, and I know a lot of people like that. So I steered away a lot of people because of that. It's like, you know what? And it sucks because these were close people. These are very close, and it's not something that I want to do, but it's something that I have to do if I have to protect myself. And a lot of people won't understand this. And the reason why is because when I started doing this, I had doubts. I had doubts. I was like, am I doing the right thing? Like it feels wrong. And everyone else does not understand this. But yet I keep getting all these successful people telling me like, if you want what you want, you have to stay away from these certain people that brings you down. And it's like, okay, then I have to look at reality as it is. What are they currently doing? And if that's what they're doing, then yes, I do have to stay away from it. Okay. Uh, this keyboard is bad. Hashtag get Sarah a new keyboard. Uh, all right. Um, so criticizing versus criticism, constructive criticism versus criticizing for their own benefits. Uh, Forgot who said this, but small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, great minds discuss ideas. So I want you guys to kind of soak that in. Small minds discuss people. So if you're ever in a conversation and all you hear, okay, every now and then it's different, right? But all you hear is about, oh, this person this person that, and it's always like negative, and bad news seems to always travel faster than good news. You ever notice? All the good news is like, it doesn't really travel because it doesn't. I think there's a certain bias. I have to look into that. There's a study on that. I think it's negative bias or something like that. Don't quote me on that yet, but there's a bias towards negativity, and that's why it travels so much faster. So you ever notice whenever you watch the news back when Trump was a thing, and that's all it was. Everyone always talked about Trump this, Trump that, right? So small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, right? And when they're talking about events, it's like, oh, like look at what, you know, this is happening in the world, right? Okay, that's great. What are you going to do about this event that's happening? That's cool. Are you doing anything about it? Now, if there's something that's it's happening around the world and you're discussing ideas, which leads me to my next one, where great minds discuss ideas. When you're discussing ideas, usually, and I'm not saying this for myself. I noticed that this is what I naturally do anyways now because I've been so consumed into it to my own. So when I have an argument or not an argument or someone's disagreeing with me over something, whatever it is, and their reaction is like this, I tend to like to ask myself, I'm like, okay, why did this person act the way they did? Why did they do that? And that gives me an idea of like, okay, if they acted like that, how do I prevent that from happening next time? How would I do that? And so it gives me an idea so that now I'm more well equipped when I'm going to approach that person the next time. So then maybe that way they won't throw up that defense, or they're not gonna be as aggravated, right? Let's see, Connie, you said that's why we have to stay away from those who have negative mindsets and lack optimistic. Yeah, optimism offers opportunities. So I'd suggest watching that episode too as well if you have time, Connie, because people that are optimistic, those are rare, right? And I'm not talking about the overly optimistic. I'm talking about like people that support you, that understands, and if you have an idea, they're not just gonna shoot it down, but it's like, okay, if that's the idea that you want, how are you gonna move forward with it? What are you going to do? Let's do this together so that you get where you want to be. Let's move together, right? uh Collective discussions is always good because you can see all the good and the bad aspects, or better, no, two brains is better than one. Yeah, yeah, but be careful with the people that always just criticize so that they have something for themselves, right? They benefit from that criticism so that they lift themselves up. Why the hell you want to do that? That's so wrong, blah 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 blah. And it's like deep down they're not, and you look at their life, they're not really doing anything. And let's just say they want to become better people, but all they do is that. It's like, yo, you're not really moving forward. You're just trying to push everyone down so that maybe one day when you succeed, you could point them down at more, like, look at me, right? Like, that's not where is it at. And how I see it is success is like the ocean and there's plenty of it. So, and most people are not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to put in the work. Okay. um anyways, after being around these people, always give yourself an audit. Always audit your life. get an idea. So because this topic is what gives you energy, right? So after being around these certain people, like, how do you feel? Does it lift you up, or does it bring you down, or do you feel neutral when you're around these people? And I'm not just talking about having a good time, because there's people I hang out with and I have a good time, and that's great. But do I personally benefit anything out of it? Like, am I becoming a better person from this? Not just having a good time, but, and it's important to have a good time. Don't get don't get that mixed up. But wouldn't you rather be around someone that gives you a good time, or you're having a good time, and then you come out becoming a better person from that? Oh, that's a double hit. That's a double hit. It's like, yo, okay, my brain's all stimulated. I like being around you, right? You're also sometimes kind of funny too, maybe funny looking, whatever. I like being around you, and you're a good person. I want to be around you some more, right? And then that way you guys could grow together. You guys could grow together, okay? So, and how often? So my question for you now is, one of the major questions is, because you're being being aware of your surroundings. How often do you think back to your purpose and your goal? Yaku, a good time. Yo, what's up, Yaku? Yo, yo, yo. Yaku in the house. Okay, we got the MVP. I don't need to do nothing anymore. I can just sit back and read. All right. So, how often do you think back to your purpose and your goal? And if you don't do that, I suggest you do, because something's missing. Some connection is missing. It's like, that's not where your focus is you're not going to get there. Okay? And are you decisive? Do you take actions, or are you a type of person that would say, I'll think about it and then never get back to it? Right? Here's a reason why. The reason why most people are indecisive is because we fear of making a mistake. And the way we think becomes a habit. And the habit of indecisiveness is usually the road to failure. I'm going to say that one more time, all right? Fear of being indecisive is because we fear of making a mistake. Most people fear making a mistake. And how I see it is, it's like, when I was in school, there was like this answer, this one right answer, and if you don't get it, you're wrong. And so me raising up my hand and be like, okay, what is this answer? And I'm like, 7. And it's like, no, the answer is actually 13. And I'm like, okay, well, I never want to raise my hand ever again, right? And I was afraid of making a mistake. Reason why is because people start laughing, right? They start laughing. It conditions you. And so I didn't want to make a mistake anymore. But the way I thought was, it became a habit. Like, I don't want to raise my hand, because if I'm not 100%, like 1,000%, I'm not going to raise my hand. Unless the answer is super, super, super easy. But then I'm accomplishing like little tiny goals. Like, I am learning, but it's so small in a scale, it doesn't actually excite me or anything. So it's like, the answer, anyone could have answered it. So it doesn't lift me up. So I don't see that as an achievement. Anyways, I fear making mistakes. And the way we think becomes a habit, and habits of indecisiveness is the road to failure. Okay? So it's not just the people you surround with, it's how you surround your ideas, because you have this image of how you view the world. So how you dress, how you look, what you put on, what perfume, cologne that you put on, that's kind of who you are. So that's a projection of who you are. So it's very difficult to change something that's been there for so long. Okay, but that's why it comes a point where you're like, you hit a wall, something has to change. Unless something, if it doesn't change, I'm not gonna become better, and I don't want to become stagnant. Okay, let me see what I'm missing. Filtering people is a must. I used to be like that. Let's see, I'm like that at a new workplace. And I thought you said flirting with people. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, flirting people with is a must. That's what Annie's been doing, huh? She's just been flirting with people left and right. Moving on. What life? Second slide. What life do you want to live? What kind of life do you want to live? And I have two quotes in here, which is, well, I'm gonna start out with the first one. What life do you want to live? You can't base your life on other people's expectations. Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder. You can't live your life on other people's expectations, you know? If you want to have a life that you want, you have to have clarity. And if in order to have clarity, you have to know what you want. And clarity is defined as the ability to determine what you want to be, have, or do in life. I know Yaku wants to be an artist, so he's going to continue doing that and be amazing at it. I want to live a meaningful life. And does that meaningful life involve art, Yaku? Because I see you've been doing it, and like it's been over like what 2 years, and you still been doing it. You raised your hand up because you were trying to be bold. Knowing the answer, I wouldn't have been laughing at you. Thank you, Connie. You would have been one of those nice people. I'd be like, that person didn't laugh at me. We're gonna have lunch together. You know when you bring your lunch, that little lunch. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, yeah. Moving on though. Moving on. So it's clarity. You have to know what you want, have, or do in life, right? Having something that's meaningful. Um, And most of the time, this is what you see, right? Most of the time, unhappy people are miserable people with poor sense of direction. And it's usually those type of people that are miserable. It's people that doesn't have a sense of direction. So when you ask them what they like to do, and they just say sleep, you know what I'm talking about? What do you like to do? What makes you happy? What gets you excited about life? Sleep. Okay. Um, What about sleep that you like? Okay, all right. I'm trying. I'm trying here. What is it about sleep that you like so much? Oh, I get to phase out the world. I don't have to think about anything. So you don't like thinking. Okay. So I could already assume their library is not very it's it's not very it's not very big, or if they even read books. Okay? I get excited when people tell me they read books cuz I get to learn from them. I'm like, "What is it about that book that you like? What makes you excited about that book? And should I read it?" All right, let's see. Annie, you said that somewhat resonate with me, though my quiet self, the teacher always picked on me for the answers, right? They didn't pick on me because I wasn't very nice in school sometimes, you know? It wasn't until later on. Yo, Mitchell, I think you want to eat watermelon. What was that supposed to mean? What? Anyways, so clarity, having clarity, right? So not only do you have to have clarity, you have to make sure you're decisive. You got to be decisive. Um, yeah. Anyways, unhappy people, poor sense of direction. And this doesn't mean that when you have a direction, you won't ever experience sadness. And what I am saying is, you know you'll be okay when things does not go the way that you want it to be. That's it. Look, whatever it is, hey, I thought this was gonna be great and it wasn't what I expected, but it's okay. I know I'll be all right, and I will do it again, and I will keep doing it, and I will continue to be better until it gets right. Okay. Um, who goes to libraries anymore? I go to Barnes. No care needed. No card needed. Oh, you don't need a card? We also need to be vocal. Who we allow in our lives. Absolutely, 100% in our lives, and who we don't want in our lives. 100%. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Um and yeah, that's why, like I said, it's really difficult to let some people go, because it's kind of like it's that comfort. It's like they're not going to change. They're going to be like that for the rest of their life. And they view life in a certain way, and they're so stuck with it, and they don't want to change. They wouldn't want to change. And you need a dramatic change in your life, at least, for in an optimistic view. At the very least, like, if you think you could do something, but all these people has been telling you couldn't, maybe they need to be out of your life so that you have less obstacles. So you will have less obstacles. Oh yeah, I love Barnes and Noble stuff. You know what, maybe I should go to a Barnes and Nobles and just sit down. This is autocorrect. um. So, yeah, it doesn't mean that you won't ever experience sadness. What I am saying is, you know you'll be okay if things don't work out the way you want it to be or you would like it to be. Okay, and Brian Tracy is another person that I've kind of, a lot of the quotes today actually came from not quotes, but a lot of the ideas came from Brian Tracy. That's BrianTracy. I highly suggest listening to him because he has a lot of good advice. Anyways, he says, if you don't have a clear, specific goals for your life, you are doomed forever to work for people who do. Okay? So, if you don't want to work at Trader Joe's or you don't want to work at Walmart or whatever, right? Then you want to work for yourself, well, you should have an idea of what you want. Um, he also said something along the lines of no, let me see if I could remember his quote. He has never met a successful person that does not have a sense of direction. He has never met a successful person without any direction in life. They always have a direction. This is what they want to be. Boom, right? They go for it. And he has never met an unsuccessful person that brain fart. I couldn't think of it. I tried. Barney's there. Icebreaker. What you reading? What you reading? Yeah, there you go, Yaku. I see you. You spent that game, girl. What you drinking? Can I have some? Can I have some? Uh, sounding thirsty. All right. So Brian Tracy. Yeah. If you don't have clear, specific goals for your life, you are doomed forever to work for people who do. The major question is, if you have a sense of direction, does it give you energy? Ask yourself why. Keep asking yourself why, right? Does it lift you up? Keep asking yourself why. Dig deeper. And if you can't answer it or you can't make a decision based off that, like if it's something that you want to do, maybe your purpose in life or whatever you want to do, and you can't muster up this decision making, and you keep asking yourself why, and you can't say I'll just do it, then you're probably in the wrong field. You're probably in the wrong field. Okay, if you can't figure it out, or you just continually making excuses. Okay. Let's see. Nice place to meet new people. You can say also that book is a really good book. I read it already. Yeah, there you go. And then when they ask you and they quiz you, you be like, "Oh, what you like about it?" You be like, and then you don't know. You just be like, "Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, right? Yeah, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil it. Uh, that discount, yeah. I yeah, there's something about books. There's something about. I don't think I could be a librarian though. I think you need a master's for that. Anyways, major question. Major question. Does this give you energy? Does it lift you up? Keep you asking yourself. Dig deep. And who you become, like I said, who you become is more important than what you get, because what you get can always disappear. So now, I want you guys to really think about this. If your happiness is always left with somebody else, or your happiness is outside of you, then you're always trying to seek out and try to fill in that void. Or maybe you miss that person. Fine. Fine. But know that no one is always going to be there for you. And if they're not there and you're not happy, then chances are you're going to be like, okay, just know that one, can you or will you be okay if that person's not there? Now, of course, if it's especially if it's someone that's your partner or whatever, and they're not there, of course you're gonna think about it. I mean, you invested a lot of trust. That's why no one likes betrayal. Okay, betrayal is one of the worst feelings because you have grief too, right? You have this grief like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. Like I got comfortable. Just remember that you were okay without that person in the beginning. Just remember that you were once okay without that person, and life brought you, lifted you up, and now it's not the way you want it to be. But you will be okay. Just know that as long as you continue to work on yourself and finding whatever happiness means for yourself, only you can make yourself happy. Um, who said that? And I'm also thinking about Smokey the Bear when you said that. Um, But absolutely, absolutely. So don't try to seek for an outside source to fill in the void of your happiness. That's why you know, I said, how do you feel if you were to sit in a room by yourself for like 10 to 15 minutes and you just there, no phone, no distractions, just you and no distractions. How do you feel? And most people can't sit there for 10, and I'm not even talking about meditation. I'm just you being there yourself, because we're so inclined to use something to distract us. The moment you go home, there's a million things that you could do. There's a million things that you could do. So we're always constantly doing something, right? Even sleeping is like doing something. You closing your eyes, right? But really be there with yourself. And if you can't be comfortable being with yourself, then then you might want to reconsider a few things. Um, no, he says only you can prevent forest fire. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But that's the first thing that popped up when you said that. All right, what do you enjoy? Okay, what you enjoy. So, do you enjoy yourself? Okay, audit that. This will give you an idea on areas of your life that you can improve on, because we could always improve on areas of our life. And what will life be like if I stayed exactly where I'm at? What will life be like if I stayed exactly where I'm at now? Will I have the things that I want, things that I want to achieve? The answer is usually no. But it gives you an idea, like, if I don't move forward in life, where will I be? And not where another person is. Don't compare yourself to another person, because you will always find yourself feeling like, oh, you're not enough, right? But comparing yourself to your yesterday or your week, your last week. Connie said, I feel like that's why we have to be our own person. A guy girl is only supposed to add to our already existed happiness. Exactly. Exactly. But here's another thing about that, Connie, is a lot of people, when they say that, they don't mean that. And because it's so much more difficult to really work on yourself. And also, a lot of these ideas that I'm giving you, like, pick one thing out of it and just work towards that one thing. Just work towards that, because there's so many ideas to work on. But a lot of times when people come to me about relationships, the first thing I do is I usually, one, I like to listen to the guy talk, because then I get an idea of where he's at. Maybe, he's doing something to lower her attraction or interest or whatever it is. But a lot of the times too, it's they don't know where they want to be. And a guy that doesn't have a purpose or a mission or a goal for himself usually is like, yeah, okay, the woman in his life, they're gonna look at it like, okay, you there's no potential. You don't want to work towards anything. You don't have anything that you want to do for your life. So why would I want to be around that? I want someone that knows what they want, goes for what they want, that's confident too. So whatever worked on me before, it stops here. That's usually what happens, and that's a lot of breakups. They happen like that, and usually it's because they put up this front where they're not, and that's why people are attracted to genuine people, is because they are the person that they always was. They're not changing for nobody else. That's who they are. All right, let's see. Change is only guarantee we have in life. Yeah, change is the only thing that you can do. No one is perfect, and we're all human. Sometimes our limbic system gets stimulated inevitably, and you get vulnerable. Having passion is your diversion to make yourself happy. Human anatomy, and talk about his limbic system. Thank you, Yaku. I was like, damn, she got the whole anatomy book, limbic system. Maybe it's your thyroid. That's why nobody. That's why no one loves me. It's my thyroid. If only my right biceps were just a little bit bigger, people would love me. But yeah. Let me move on. What you enjoy? Okay, so I was talking about what would life be if you stayed exactly where you're at, and the best. So here's another one for you guys. The best relationship that you could ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. The best relationship, because you have to live you have to live with that for the rest of your life, right? So that's why it's so important. How do you feel when you're left alone and you got nothing to do? Are you miserable? Do a lot of things pop up? What are your thoughts? Write that down. Jot that down. Anatomy, Kafka. Just one part, just one part of the anatomy, maybe two, mine and hers. Uh, but the best relationship you can ever have is the relationship you have. That sounds wrong after I right. Anyways, yeah, the best relationship you can ever have is the relationship you have with yourself, right? And I want to expand on this, which is you won't have a happy or healthy relationship with someone if your relationship with yourself alone is toxic. You don't even like yourself. Why the hell will anybody want to be around you? And maybe you're just putting up this happiness of like, oh, damn, like maybe you got game, okay? You got game, and you just spitting game, and she likes you. She's happy. She's cheerful. She's like, oh, no other guy makes me feel like this, right? Because we all know women are more emotional creatures. And that being said, she gets all like lovey-dovey. But what happens when things get, when things kind of simmer down, right? When things simmer down, what happens? He starts going back to his original or his old habits, and he starts being the person that he was, and he never changed, but he viewed life negatively. Where do you think it's going to end? Okay, I'm just you're gonna see it like that. So that's why don't just get into a relationship. Screen out these type of people. See how their life is. See how they view life. And it's also important to see their relationship with their parents, right? Their relationship with their parents. Understand that too, because then you could get an idea, like were they did they have a good father figure or whatever, right? And are they willing to change, and are they willing to become better people themselves? Myself is touchy feely. I'm like, calm down, self. I have a mind too. What? Yakuza exposing himself. He loves touchy feely. All right. So yeah, you won't have a happy, healthy relationship, right? And when you do enjoy yourself, you attract more people. That's just how it works. I can't explain it. When you're just a more happier person and you're smiling, you just walking down the street and you just enjoy the things. You just enjoy Sarah. You just enjoy what's out there. You're happy where you're at, and you just going about your day. Like, you ever notice more and more people just want to be around you just because you're smiling? It's like, what are you smiling about? I want to be where you're at, right? You got these feelings that I want. I don't know what it is, but I want to know. Okay. Um, but also that's why you got to learn to screen people out. All right. Moving on. Most people always try to find happiness outside themselves to fill in the void, but what isn't yours will never be yours. So I talked about that. So you have to bring yourself up. You are the energy of your own spirit and your own life. So that's it. Nobody's there to help you. And I've people. So here's another misconception where a lot of people get this idea when they come to me. They think I could fix their problem. I'm like, do you know where you want to be? They're like, yeah, I want to be happier. I'm like, cool, okay. Um, what makes you happy? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay, if you don't know, let's try to figure this out. And if they keep saying I don't know, I'm like, okay, then you're really not even trying. You don't even so you want me to figure out your problems by looking into this encyclopedia of all the things that you could be wrong, whereas you could just point it out yourself. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, I just get angry a lot. Okay, so maybe we could work with that for now, right? You're cheerful, Yaku, for bringing the sunshine wherever you go. You're the man. See, Yaku, there you. She flirting with you, man. There you go. She was like, Mitchell, don't say that. Mitchell, don't say that. You blowing up my cover. Um, but yeah, don't try to fill your happiness with other people. Okay, find it out on yourself. And as a coach, this is what I do. I have to know where you want to be, If you don't know where you want to be, then there's nothing. It's like coming to a personal trainer and be like, I want to look hot. Well, what does hot look like to you? And you don't even know what hot looks like. Okay, then okay, no. So you don't know what you want. I can't help you. No matter how much money you throw at me, it's not going to help. You don't even know your own direction in life. And there was a quote where if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Okay, I think Brian Tracy said that. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Yeah, and that's where most people kind of wander around, right? Spinning around. Okay, so don't try to find happiness from other people. So this is a little bit more of a personal thing. I like these emojis, Sarah. Keep doing that. I like it. All right. My life now is a journey, right? I enjoy learning. So what I enjoy doing is whenever I wake up, I like to focus on what I could do to become better, or like what is something that interests me the most, and what could spark my interest, so that maybe, hopefully, I could share this interest with you. That's exactly where I'm at. So a lot of the stories, all the topics that you hear, these are things that I'm curious about. And there would be some times where maybe you guys could help me too, because I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm not always in this place, your brain. I'm not always in this place where like I'm here to teach. I want to learn just as much as you guys. I want to learn just as much too, and have a good time. And why is your brain like that? Why is your brain like that, Sarah? So my life is a journey, and what I like to do is find a way to expand better than where I was at yesterday. That's it. I just want to become better than I'm at. And I have one more slide after this, and that slide will have that thing that I was talking about, which is the exercise. And I highly, highly, highly suggest doing this because I just saw this yesterday, and when I was like, okay, I have to do this. Okay, I have to do this. So last thing on the slide, what you enjoy. The last thing on the slide is what I teach isn't a quick fix, but you can see quick results if you start applying it today. But it's not gonna be dramatic. It's not gonna be the result that you want, right? You don't go to the gym one like 3 months and expect your body to look the way where someone trained for like 10 years or 5 years. Like it takes time to look that certain look, to have that physique, right? Haven't slept in like 2 days. Uh oh, Sarah, is it because you watched that scary monster? Now modern day men, and I'm not just talking about men, but I use men as an example. Modern day men and women today focus on expediency. Expediency, things that are quick, right? Short term gain for long term pain. Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy. So, and that's why we get it's so easy to get lost in that. It's so easy to just get lost in this short-term gain because we always want to do things that is quick, right? Three things or four things that whatever that could increase, like no, like you got to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. You got to do trial and error. Now, you can learn from other people, that way you don't make the same mistakes, but you still have to put in the time. You still have to put in the work. And I was talking to one of my friends today, and he gave me an idea about like business, and because I was like, yo, how long have you been doing photography? Some of you guys may know him. His name is Jack. And I was asking, I was like, how long you been doing photography? He's like, for 10 years. And I was like, what's the advice that you have for this? And he was like, well, when you get into that, make sure that the partner that you're with or whoever is someone that you could trust. And I heard this from someone else too. Someone you could trust, someone that's honest, someone that's willing to do the work that you say you are gonna do and that they're gonna do. Because otherwise, that trust, it gets broken. It's like you don't want. It's like the sense of betrayal, the thing that I was talking about earlier. And it's not just like, oh, someone that's just willing to throw money at you, and then when you succeed, they get part of that. It's like, no, they have to put in some of the work too. It's just not you. You're not just the manager and be like, oh, I see talent, let me get that person, and you do all the work, and I get the money, right? So, and even he compared like two of his and I'm curious too. Maybe I could send him a text. I want to see both of your photos that you have from 10 years ago and where you're at today, and I want to know how it looks, because he was like, yeah, when I saw that photo 10 years ago and where I'm at today, it's like, ooh, so totally different. All right, let's see. What did I miss? Uh, let's see, Sarah. Haven't slept in 2 days. One more day and you start hallucinating. Don't you get a headache for being sleep deprived work? And thanks for the reminder. Sometimes, yeah, it's common though. Hope you don't help planes land. Oh, wow, yeah, cool. So you take meds or headache? That's just what I was planning on. Hope you don't help planes land. Alright, yeah, cool. Alright, so modern day focus, expediency, short term gain for long term pain. Alright. Anyways, moving on. What you look forward to? What do you look forward to? Okay, and this is where I have the exercise for you guys that I highly suggest you guys could. I suggest, if you don't have it already, have something up or a pen and paper or whatever. Write this down, because when you have goals, you want to write down goals. Otherwise, it's just a wish list. And like anything that you wish for, it usually just doesn't happen, right? But when you write things down, it shows that you're a little bit more serious. And when you're serious about it, that's when you can move towards this. Yeah, Jack's an awesome person, and I got to sit down with him, and we ate salad today. Oh, plant! It was that vegan place. So yeah, cool. If you here too, let's go eat at that spot, because I think you will love it. The cookies there are amazing. I just think it's overpriced for a $6 cookie, but it's amazing. Okay, and I wouldn't mind treating you to one of those delicious cookies, because I think you're worth it. I think you're worth it. What you look forward to? That's my next and last slide. And this is a focus on yourself. We all enjoy people that have a sense of a direction in life. We all enjoy people that have a sense of direction in life. Now, here's a good audit. If you don't enjoy that about that person, like if that person has a direction in life and they want to go for it and you don't like that idea, there's if that doesn't resonate with you now, there might be a deeper meaning to that. And that usually is because you may be envious. And that's not a good place to be, because then you're trying to be competitive. Whereas, remember, I was talking about just being collaborative and just understanding and be like, okay, you're at this place, how do I get there? And maybe you could collaborate and understand each other and lift each other up, versus trying to always push each other down. Um, I like it. So how do you get relief, Sarah? Food, probably food. Yeah, Sarah. I hope you're okay. If you haven't slept for, yeah, I was joking about scary monsters. I'm worth it, L'Oreal. All right. On to my last slide. If it doesn't resonate with you now, there might be a deeper meaning. Meaning, an example is like you dislike people who have more things than you, and usually it's a self-reflection. So if you find yourself in this place where you're not liking it, well, that's usually because it's a mirror of who you are, and you don't want to see that, because nobody wants to see their own flaws, especially if someone's pointing it out towards you. You don't want to see that. So where can I start? Create a life audit. Okay, so start creating it. Just don't think about it, write it down. What are you auditing? And you should audit your life, as in your health, your finance, the energy that's putting in and putting out, and what are your life goals. Like, there's a lot of things that you can audit in your life, but a good place to start is usually where your energy is. So remember when I said, if you meeting out with some people, and these people, when you come out of this place, like, do you feel relieved? Do you feel like, oh my god, now I can finally be myself? I couldn't even be myself around them, because if I show who I really am, they might not accept me for who I am. And that's usually not a good sign. That's usually not a good sign. I'm gonna continue. But I do see your comments though. So, create a life audit, health, finance, energy, your life goals, and I would say it again because if you don't know where you're going in life, any road will take you there. And a good question is, do you enjoy learning? Because if you don't enjoy learning the things that you like, or the things that you want to do, then it's gonna be a very difficult road for you to move forward to. You know what I mean? So, do you enjoy it? And if you don't, how long can you really persist on that? And are you better than you yesterday or last week? And I know that that question is pretty loaded. It's because it's kind of vague, right? And this is where you should use your pen and paper. Listen to the ocean wave. It helps, makes me sleep. Uh, Remember we all talk about counting sheeps and stuff? CT scan on the head. McGill tried. Sarah, you did mention that you ever since that fall, that one fall, was it ever since that fall you have not been sleeping well? Is that I don't know. I don't know. Could that be tied into something? Yeah, I guess sleep, but don't get enough. Oh, okay. So yeah, keep track on that. Don't use your head or don't use your mind as or your brain as a filing cabinet. Write down that day because then you don't want to be going to the doctors and be like, I think it was like 3 days ago, but it's like 2 weeks, right? Anyways, I want to give you guys these 4 steps that I learned recently from Brian Tracy, and this was very helpful, and I would highly suggest this. So if you guys have a pen and paper ready, you could write it down. If not, this is what marks minute 61 and 40 some seconds, or 62 minutes. So these are the 4 steps. These are the 4 steps. Number one, he says, write down in your journal every morning. Every morning. And since today is nighttime, write it at night, okay? Start now. Because the decisions that you make, 80% of the time, just do it 80%. When you make a decision, do it. If you don't do it, you're going to find a reason to not do it. So do it now. Okay, write it down. Write down in your journal. And it says, write down in your journal every morning and write in the first person as though it already exists. So if your goal is to earn $100,000 a year, I don't know, I'm making these up, right? $100,000 a year, and make it a goal that's kind of achievable too, right? You don't want to be like, I need to be like Elon Musk, okay? If your goal is to earn $100,000 a year, write down, I earned $100,000 a year. If your goal was to lose 10 pounds on a scale, whatever, I I lost 10 pounds on a scale. Like write in that tense, write in that first person tense, okay? And write down in that journal every day. So it gives you, it puts it in the subconscious. But that's the first step. Every morning you want to write that, okay? And after you're done writing it, number two, this is very important. Number two is very important. You're going to go back to that booklet or whatever your binder that you were writing on or notebook. You want to reflect on that goals and review the progress. You want to write down, you want to reflect on those goals and review your progress at night. Because then not only are you conscious of that in the morning, you're going to be more conscious of that at night. Now, that's only number two. So you're reflecting on those goals and you're reviewing it. Number three is the question you want to ask yourself is, what have you done that move you towards your goal? Ask yourself that. What on that list, because these are your goals every single day that you're going to move towards. What have you done that move you towards your goal? And number four is, what would I do differently if I had today to do it all over again? What would I do? Okay. What could I do differently if I had today all over again? Now, you won't have that same day all over again. But what will you do different? At least you're creating this idea. So now, I'm going to repeat that very quickly. Number one, write down on your journal every morning, first person tense of your goals as if you already achieved it. Number two, reflect on your goals and review your progress at night. Number three, what have you done that move you towards your goal? And number four is, what would you have done differently if I had today to do all over again? All right. Uh, and this is the reason behind it, because when you do this, you're programming your in your mind, in your subconscious mind, that and he used an example of, like, everyone had an experience of reading or thinking about a subject, and suddenly you start attracting people, books, articles, podcasts, whatever it is, towards this subject. That's usually, and most of you guys, that's kind of where it started. You realize that there's a certain area of your life that you want to become better, and you're like, okay, I need to figure this out, but how do I do that? And then little by little, you're like, okay, who is this guy that dances, that does all these other things too? And you're like, yeah, okay, maybe I should hear him out. And here you are today. All right. And but you start attracting this, you start attracting these things. And but if you do that every day and you start working towards that goal, he says that if you do this for at least 30 days, you will be quicker than where you're at in 6 months, than in 6 months. So uh that is for today. And I do have a summary, which is the 4 slides, which is being aware of your surrounding. Small minds discuss people, average mind discuss events, great minds discuss ideas. And are you decisive? Do you take action, or do you just say, I'll think about it and never get back to it? That's usually what happens. Number two, slide number two is, what life do you want to live? And the two quotes that I had over here is, you can't base your life on other people's expectations, which is Stevie Wonder. And for Brian Tracy, he said, if you don't have a clear, specific goal for your life, you are doomed forever to work for a place, for a person, for people who do, or for a person who does, right? And number three, what you enjoy? Do you enjoy yourself? Do you enjoy being alone by yourself? Right? Because the best relationship you can ever have is a relationship you can have with yourself. And you won't ever be in a happy, healthy relationship with someone if you're in a toxic relationship with yourself. That's just, it will never work. And lastly, what you look forward to. This is the focus on yourself. We all enjoy people that have a sense of direction in life. If this doesn't resonate with you now, there may be a deeper meaning, right? And lastly, I want you guys to review the 4 steps. Can somebody tell me the 4 steps? Who was listening? Okay, let me see. I missed a whole bunch of things. Hold up. Let's see. CT scan. Okay, hold on. Listen to the ocean waves. CT scan. And ahead. I tried those too. Yeah, but just not the last day. I know the date very well. You type very fast, Sarah. I noticed that you have a lot of typos. Also, list too many hours you sleep. But do you feel dizzy or nauseated? Nausea? No, I don't feel any of that. She'll get eye headache of remembering to keep track of all those minutes you sleep. I would. It's like counting calories. Okay, Chevelin. Sarah says, Chevelin, the first 3 days of the concussion, but not anymore. Hope you get a CT scan in the head, Sarah, because sometimes you don't feel the, but later on knocks you on the wood. It might, yeah, it might be. Just put it on your notes, because sometimes it takes more time for effect. It's been over a month. It's just that sleep was an issue. Trust me, I just need a break. Remember, it's the lotto number. Maybe you just stressing. Show us your journal, Mitchell. My journal is private. But there's things that I want to work towards. So the front of your cover glimpse, and the body of your journal. So I actually purchased a journal that had a little lock in it, because I feel more comfortable knowing that I can lock it up, and I just do this, and all the what you call that? All the numbers are scattered, right? You need a passcode to my journal, right? And that's when I get to at least put in my thoughts. I like to. So I started yesterday with that journal, and I'm gonna look at it after I'm done with this show too as well, and that way it can help guide me at least get me more focused into the direction that I want to be at. And that's what Brian Tracy said. He said, write that down. And I listen to these people because they're successful with themselves. And I want you guys to be where you guys want to be at as well. But you wouldn't know if you don't do it. So that's why I'm asking you guys after this show, let me know those 4 things that I was talking about. Okay? Leave it down below and review it, okay? Because it's gonna be important, especially if that's something that you want to work towards and you want to become that type of person. It's going to require work. And remember, even my coach said, I wish when I was 22 or in my 20s that I would think in terms of decades. Thinking in terms of decades, because it usually takes that many years, maybe even 15 to maybe even 20 years to be where you want to be. But as long as you consistently work towards that and not get distracted over these little things, and most people get distracted over those stuff, which is why majority of those people that we know are usually either way down below or they're somewhat successful. But if you want to be the exception to that, you're going to have to put in the work, and you just gotta bet on yourself. You gotta bet on yourself. Okay? Mitchell, put your cards in there too. My cards? Oh yeah, because Sarah's gonna start cutting it. She showed me a video of her cutting Pokemon cards and stuff. Not her cutting, but yeah. But absolutely. Thank you all for coming in today. I appreciate it. If you, Yaku, I hope. Wait, actually, Yaku, do you do this too? Do you do this too? You're a very wise person. Okay, you're a very wise person. Do you journal? I'm actually curious. I'm curious. I'm actually curious if you do this type of work. I'm just teasing you, right, Mitchell? What are you teasing about? Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. Okay. Mine is digital. But you do it though. I almost said do it. You do it. He said do. Uh so you do it. So you do it. And Annie, if you ever want to start that cooking stream or whatever you want me to do it, I don't mind. Show your face. Okay? I don't think anyone wants to eat from someone that doesn't. No, mine is the back of my head. All right, Annie, you didn't get anything that I said today. I know you joking, but I'm not. I'm not. All right. All right. We all learn. Uh, we learn all the time for to know. You said do it. I did say do it. Do. I did say that. What do you guys learn today, huh? What resonated with you? Okay, I hope it's just not doo. Okay, and if it was, maybe you're gonna reflect back to this video. Remember that one time Mitchell said doo, and his topic was on something about energy, right? What was it? What gives you energy? Yeah. If that helps, okay? Use what helps. Be positive all the time and smile. Well, I wouldn't say just be always positive. There's going to be days that's going to be kind of like miserable. Um, I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, so he's very articulate with his words. So that's why it gives me like this, you know, like okay, all right, let's see. Uh, learn to get the best high speed. My brain. Learn to get the best high. Actually, speaking of high speed, I do need to switch my Wi-Fi to. Well, I'm at Xfinity, which is like Comcast. I'm gonna switch over because Sonic, which is fiber, which I just learned from AT&T, they're a lot quicker, and there's no data cap, and it's cheaper. It's like, why wouldn't you want that, Mitchell? So yeah, I need to put that down into my calendar as well. I need to give them a call, make sure everything's alright. But I I want to change the background. You know what I mean? As much as I like this, as much as I like this, I want to change the background eventually. Wouldn't it be nice to see me in a different setting, guys? Wi-Fi. Who the hell is Wi-Fi, huh? Well, remember they used to have Amber Alerts? Amber, who the hell is Amber, man? Who the hell? Your girl's on the side. Yo, who Amber? That's an Amber Alert. That tells you when like someone abducted someone, and it's an Amber Alert. They send it out. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'll call you. I'll call you, Mr. Mitchell Tang. Yeah, let me know. Are you talking about IG? Cause I'm about to hang this up. But it was great. It was great hanging with y'all. Let me do this closing. My happy vibes always kills you, Mitchell. Sure does. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you guys haven't liked this video already, please hit the like. I know some of y'all already subscribed, so thank you guys. Thank you very much. And I will see you guys on Saturday at 12 o'clock Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, yeah. I'll see y'all. All right, peace.